Did you know the average graduation rate for the 78 HBCUs in the nation is only 23.2%? That's really low. Terribly low compared to other universities, which is around 67 to 68%. And I think we know why. Those schools tend to have more challenges, opportunities, funding, and I'm not talking about like Spelman and Howard. I'm talking about schools like TSU, where it's even lower. That's like 11%. It's sad. It's terrible. I would not send my children to an HBCU at all. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't. It seems like they're limited. They're not graduating. They're not graduating. And even though we could say it's lack of accesses of resources, lack of funding, because the students that go into HBCUs are typically lower income. And that comes with a whole wide array of stuff, but I would not ever send my kids to an HBCU. I don't care. I don't care. I don't feel like they're getting the best education that I could give them. You get what I'm saying? Like, there's better opportunity, there's better networking than an HBCU. Would you send your kid to one?
I wouldn't send my kid to HBCU, but like she said, exactly what she said. It's typically the lower income kids that are going to HBCUs, usually kids that don't have the greatest of grades. They're not focused on school. They're more focused on what the school environment is, but they're not focused on learning from school. You know, we all know that HBCUs don't get the proper amount of funding, especially if they have to get funding from the state. They don't have the resources. They don't have the connections. There's a lot of things that HBCUs are lacking. You know, they're really for the lower income, you know. But what I've been seeing is a lot of these people that go to these HBCUs are getting degrees that do nothing in the world today. They're not getting real degrees. They're getting degrees that don't make any sense, that won't do anything in life for you. But no, I wouldn't send my kid to HBCU because I don't feel like they have the resources. They don't have the connections. HBCUs don't have athletics and stuff like that to be able to bring in funding to offset like some of the major colleges, you know. But that's one of the things is, as far as black people, if we have these HBCUs, you want to support, but you still want to have your kid have a great education and, most importantly, a great alumni to be able to have contacts and to be able to move forward in life after college. A lot of people go into these HBCUs and it's just an extension of high school. It becomes about the frats and all of these things and stuff like that, but it's not going to help you in the real world. Tell me what a fraternity can do for you. You know, how does it help these people that are in these fraternities at these HBCUs? I don't see the benefit. Are you going to get a job right out of college? Do they really help you, or is it really more just a celebratory thing, another drama thing to have? But it's not going to put you in the forefront of making money. So when you go to these other institutions that have the money, they have the connections, they have the resources. But I always tell my kids, whenever you go to school, a great school, private school, use the resources. Right? There are no resources at HBCUs. We just saw Trump though give 300 million to HBCUs, but is that enough? Probably not. Right? So as a, I hate to say, as a black man, I would not want my kids to go to HBCUs because there's nothing for them to succeed. Yes, the culture, being black, all of that, I definitely understand that. But now we're talking about education. We're talking about I need to know the best and be around the best to make the best amount of money. So HBCUs don't have that. You have people that are, record executives and stuff like that. But what do they do to bring the people up from their school? It's all about the connections, all about the network. I could tell you about this. A lot of people in these colleges have pride in bringing somebody else in from their college and moving them up over somebody else. But I just feel like, yes, like she said, lower income. You know, you have the lower income people, gives them a chance to go to college. But the thing about lower income people that go to these HBCUs, they have not been properly trained on how to achieve well in college. So typically, I hate to say it, people going to HBCUs aren't the 4.0s, the 4.5s. There are a couple places, though, that have a good STEM program, but it's still not compared to other programs from bigger colleges. So that's once again, we go into resources. But that's once again, we talk about having these HBCUs and knowing them they need money. This is when you have to look at the black elites and say, hey, why aren't you donating money so we can have the best resources? So this is why we talk about our own. How do we make our own better? Our own needs to invest. But we can't send our kids there if they don't have the best. We have to send our kids to the best situation for them. But if an HBCU has the same resources or damn near close to these other universities, then that's definitely a viable option. But a lot of these HBCUs don't have the money. They don't have the money. They're giving out degrees that do nothing for the black community. You need to be getting engineering. You need to be getting, lawyers, more dentists, more nurses, like real, real degrees. But going to an HBCU is just, for a lot of people, an extension of high school. Drama, being in fraternities and sororities, dancing, hooting, hollering, drinking. But what are you really learning? What is that college going to do for you after? That college is just making money off of you because of Pell Grants. So they want you to go because they're able to get your Pell Grant money and get you in financial debt, but you're not willing to learn anything. You're just willing to be there to party. So it's a big scam. But that's one of the big things that HBCUs, man, like they sound good. They look good. I understand it. I like it. I like the idea. But if you don't have our own people that have a lot of money not investing and making the resources better, then there's no point of sending my kids there if they don't have the best resources. Because the education is the most important thing for you to be able to move up in life. So if you go into a place that doesn't have resources, now what are you going to do? You're going to be more willing to drink. You're going to be more willing to have fun. You're going to be more willing to do the things that's not going to help you in life. And then those 4 years, 5 years would be a blur. Trust me, I know. So HBCUs, man, it looks good on paper. It sounds good. Historical black colleges is great. But what is it really doing for the black culture? What is it really doing as far as putting black people forward? What is it really doing by helping black people succeed and giving them the proper education on real subjects? Because if they don't have the funding, that means they don't have the best teachers. The best teachers go where the best money is. I'll tell you that right now. Teachers need money just like everybody else. So if you don't have the resources, if you don't have the money, how are you going to have the best teachers to teach the best kids? So it's one of those things that if you need money, you need to start putting pressure on the black elites and the people that have the money. We got a lot of millionaires and billionaires, but they ain't putting no money into HBCUs. That's why it's a responsibility as a person with black money, with a lot of money, is to start helping up your own by investing in education. If I became a billionaire, I would have my own HBCU on the West Coast. Yeah, but it would have all the resources because I see what it takes to have smart kids. It's resources. It's great teachers. It's paying these teachers. Great things out here. It's not just about being an athlete, but also having a great sports program because that's what brings in revenue for the school. So this is why you start to see guys like Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson, Dion going to these HBCUs because what they're doing, even though they're coaching, they're still bringing in revenue for the school. So that's why sports plays a huge role in college, is because that's what brings money into the school for them to be able to have better resources. But this is why it's good that you have guys like a Deion Sanders, you have a Michael Vick, you have a Deshaun Jackson, you have, I think Eddie George was a coach one time, I think Tennessee or whatever. That's good that you have these coaches because they're bringing in eyes and they're bringing in money, marketing dollars into the university. So that's what the HBCU needs to work on, is more building up their programs, their sports programs, and also building up their, just getting their resources up. And then leaning on the black elites. Hey, man, I need you to do this. I need you to help us do this because we need money to make us better. But that's why as black people, we can't have that mentality of when I get up to the situation, I'm not going to help y'all.